We missed last week. We apologize. Our rerun ran. And Nancy Stewart, Rick Kearney, myself, I believe Stu will be here. And of course, Iggy, our producer. We're alive and well, and we're in the studio. We've been doing this for a long time. And sometimes I say that these are such exciting times for car buyers and renting and leasing and maintaining and repairing. Exciting in a good way, exciting in bad ways. The technology of cars is moving so quickly that I get carried away, and I love to talk about high-tech stuff and AI. But I got to ground myself when I get too excited, because most of us, you folks out there, are driving regular cars, and what we used to call a regular car is now probably a hybrid. I wouldn't be surprised if most of you are, or very close to that, are driving hybrids. So technology is moving fast, but your questions, and the reason most of you are interested in the show, is to get answers to what your car is doing for you or against you. And we have Rick Kearney, a certified diagnostic master technician. So think about that for a minute. You want a free diagnosis because you got a car that isn't acting right. And there's nothing worse when you've got a doctor's appointment, or you got to get your kids to school, or wherever you're going. I don't know about you, but I'm always in a hurry. And when I hop in the car, I don't want to have to fool around to get it started. I don't have to worry about it, stopping on me or not behaving properly or having a pull to the left or right when I'm on the interstate highway. I want it to run smoothly, safely, and quickly. So when you have those little symptoms, you can do one of two things. Try to fix it yourself. Good luck with that. You could take it to your dealer. Good luck with that. Or you could go to an independent mechanic, and if you have one who's reliable, you're a very lucky guy or gal. You won the lottery. But if all those fail, or you don't have access to this type of thing, you call Rick Kearney at Earl Stewart on Cars, and you're listening to that right now. Write this number down, please. 772. I'm sorry, that's a text number. I'm going to give you the real number. The call on the telephone number, 877-960-9960. That number is 877-960-9960. Your calls will be answered, and 99 times out of 100, you got the solution from Rick Kearney without having to go through the gyrations you would otherwise go through. You can find out it's really not a bad problem. Rarely it is a problem, and even more rarely it's a serious problem. Usually there's a fix, and Rick can explain it to you and save you a ton of money. And if you take it into a mechanic you don't know, or a service department at a dealership, you could end up spending thousands of dollars when you don't have to. So again, you'll hear this number throughout the show, and we're on from, well, right now it's 8 a.m. We're on for 2 hours, 10 a.m., and that's Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you got plenty of time. Give us a call at 877-960-9960. That's 877-960-9960. Now, there's another thing that makes this show interesting, and that is Nancy Stewart, who's sitting right across from me, and I see her now. She's working at her iPhone. She's probably reading some messages from women. Nancy Stewart is a very knowledgeable person on automobiles, and she's also female, as you probably guessed. And we have built a following of females over the 20-some-odd years we've been on the air that you wouldn't believe. Cars are a guy thing. You The car, guys love cars. And women are not supposed to. Well, times have changed. Women are now concerned about their cars. And Nancy Stewart has a special offer. If you haven't heard the show before, please stay tuned. Within 60 seconds, I'm going to turn this microphone over to Nancy Stewart, and she's going to tell you about an offer that you won't believe. It sounds too good to be true, but it's not. But if you're a woman and you haven't listened to the show before, and you call the show at 877-960-9960, 877-960-9960, Nancy Stewart is going to give you a gift that is without strings just because you haven't called the show before and you're female. I now turn the microphone and the show over to Nancy Stewart.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. We do enjoy your company. You are a huge part of the show, so give us a call toll-free at 877-960-9960. And when we were on the air live the last time, we talked about the FTC. Well, I got to tell you, not everyone, including myself, thought anything would change. It would be the same old. But let me tell you this. With Trump's new FTC leadership, the Federal Trade Commission now has new leadership under Trump, and it's been a huge shakeup. There are some new people who will represent you, me, all of us. And I see that things are going to change. So there's hope. The price you see must be the price you pay. That is great for ladies, for men, for all of us. That takes me to the ladies. We enjoy your company, and we're trying to build a platform here for you. Please give us a call this morning, even if it's just to say hello. 877-960-9960. First two female callers can win themselves a $50 Amazon gift card. Automatically, as soon as you call, you automatically get that $50 Amazon gift card. So again, the first two new lady callers, give us a call toll-free at 877-960-9960. And also, what I opened with, give us a call. Let us know whether you feel any stronger about things changing in the auto industry. As I said, the price you see is the price you're going to pay. 877-960-9960. And you can text us. Write the text number down because you'll need it for the mystery shopping report, 772-497-6530. And don't forget your anonymousfeedback.com. We're going to go straight to the phones. John from Palm City is one of our regular callers. Good morning, John.
Good morning. Question for Rick on tires. The price of new tires is getting ridiculous, like everything else, because it's made with petroleum products. What's your opinion? During World War II, we came out with recap tires. What is your opinion about doing that again? And what's your idea on a recap tire?
Incredibly dangerous. I'm in South Florida, and I see all the time on the highway the remains of recap tires that come off of the big trucks. And I know those 18-wheelers, their tires are huge money. I'm guessing $800-900 or more per tire, even for the used ones. They are ridiculous amounts of money. I know passenger car tires are expensive, but folks, when it comes down to it, you've got 4 little patches about 6 inches square that are what keeps your car in contact with the road and keep you safe. If you really feel that it's important not to spend money on tires, to make sure that your tires are in good shape, please let me know when you're on the road so I can make sure that me and my family are not, because that's taking your lives and the lives of everyone else around you into danger.
Incidentally, when you talk about tires that for truck tires, don't be a good Samaritan and go want to pick it up and dispose of it, because when you touch that, you'll cut your hands because of the metal that's in the tire or carcass. So don't make a mistake like a friend of mine. He picked it up being a good Samaritan, and he really cut his hand touching that remains of a tire. But I'm glad you mentioned that, because I don't think legally that they were allowed to do it. Like years ago, you used to pass a tire place, and there was a rack that had used tires. They were takeoffs.
Yep.
They still had good tread on them, and I believe by law they can't do that anymore because of the liability involved in it. So you don't see those racks anymore, right?
They still, a lot of places will still sell used tires. They just kind of do it on the quiet. But yeah, that still happens. And it's something that it can be extremely dangerous, because you don't know what damage might have been done to that tire and whether it's still safe to be on your car. And just as a quick story with those, I call them gator backs, those big chunks of rubber that you'll see on the side of the road. Years ago, when I was riding a motorcycle, I couldn't see one in time. I wound up hitting it with my tires. I rolled right over it, but it actually slapped it up and hit me in the back of my calf.
Ooh.
And I had some pretty good puncture marks there on the back of my leg, just from the seal belts of that little piece of rubber. So yeah, it can be dangerous. If you see one on the road when you're driving, if you can safely avoid it, it's best to do so. But if you have to, just keep your wheels straight, let off the gas, and roll over it, and then keep driving. And if your car seems to have any issues, have it checked out by a mechanic.
Well, that's good advice. One fast thing, too. People are confused. It's as simple. Every tire is DOT, no matter where it's made. It's DOT qualified. And the big thing we have to know on it is a 4-letter code, simply stated. You'll see that like 2625 simply means that tire was made the 26th week of 2025. So be aware at the code date, because there's certain associations like National Street Rod Associations. If you want to enter a car and get it inspected with them, and if it's more than 10 years old, they won't let you come in and they won't safety check it. So tire codes are very, very important for people, and be aware.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Thank you for information.
My pleasure.
Thanks for the call, John.
You're welcome.
That's one of the least understood and one of the most egregious mistakes, let's say, the government is making now, because we all know that the age of a tire is important, as John pointed out, and it's recommended that you don't buy a tire that's 6 years old or older. And you would think that they would want to give you a clear indication of the age of the tire. They could have put, I mean, what is the date today? It's we write the date. We see it on the newspapers. We see it on our iPhones. We see it all the time. I mean, you could put March 2026 on the tire. I mean, why do they use a secret code? This isn't World War II. The Japanese are not trying to bomb our tires.
Exactly.
So if you're going to let people know when they buy a tire, put the date on the tire. And if you got a law, or if you don't want us to use old tires, help us. But our government sometimes is beyond stupidity. Now I'm going to have to shut myself up because I'm starting to get emotional. Rick, let me ask you this: what do you see as the warning that a car owner might have, either from the red light or your dash, check with your dealer or any kind of warning that if ignored could be the most serious. In other words, we ignore the warning oftentimes because we're in a hurry. But is there something that if I popped up on my dash that said warning, I should almost pull over?
The traffic light. As odd as that sounds, you'll notice on the lights on your dash when you start the car up, 99% of cars use 3 colors: red, amber or yellow, and green. If you see a green light, something lights up and it's bright green, it's not a worry. It's usually just an informational thing. Hey, you've got your headlights on, your daytime running lights are on, something like that. If it comes up and it's amber or yellow, that's usually a caution thing, just like a yellow light on the traffic light. It means this is something you want to get checked out, but it's not an emergency. You don't have to pull over right now. You need to just, when you can safely get off the road or safely get somewhere, get this taken a look at. If it comes up red, that's the big indicator, stop.
But in the older cars, there was a check engine light that's always red. So,
Check engine lights are always amber.
oh, they are now?
They are
Did they
off, yep.
Did they used to be red?
Nope.
I'm colorblind, so.
No, they've always been amber. And things like your oil pressure light, the coolant warning light with no cars overheating, those have always come up as red.
Yeah.
Several others that might come up as amber are like your tire pressure light.
Yeah.
Because you might have a tire that's just getting a little low and not in a danger range.
Yeah.
Also, Rick, in our cars, and this just happened last week, I believe it was, Earl, that there was that constant noise alerting us that there was something off in the vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
The color was amber on the dash.
Yeah.
And I began to look around, but still focusing on the road. And what it was your seatbelt.
Yeah.
So that's amber
Yep.
also. It was very deceiving because, like I said, I was driving, and I'll call it the emoji, it looked like as if that it could have been related to the tire.
Yeah, that's a great example,
Because
yeah.
of the shape of it, but it was the seatbelt.
Yeah.
But these colors that Rick mentions, not everyone knows this.
Well,
I didn't know it.
That's why I say it's kind of like looking at the traffic light.
Yeah.
Red, yellow, and green gives you just kind of an indicator of how concerned you need to be at that moment.
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, give us a call, toll free, at 877-960-9960. Don't forget that text number, 772-497-6530. We're going to go back to the phones, and we are going to talk to John. And John is calling us from West Palm Beach, and he, too, is a regular caller. Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning. While listening to the best of Earl Stewart last week, something was brought up. Don't remember what it was, but it reminded me to bring this up. First, I want to ask you a question. You do this auto self-driving, the FSD, full self-driving, right?
Yes.
When you leave the garage, do you automatically turn it on, or do you turn it on once you start driving?
I'm going to let Nancy answer that question because she's doing most of the driving in the family right now, and she's a passenger, but she pushes the buttons to get us going. Nancy?
How long do I have? John, it is, I'm going to say, the roll of the dice. Right now, the Tesla is learning, still in the learning stages. So to answer your question, sometimes the Tesla will back out. Excuse me, let me back up for a second. I'll hit self-driving in the garage, and the car will back up. But then there's times, that she throws a tantrum, and she won't leave the garage.
It'll not only back up, but when we back out of our driveway, we have a high hedge on both sides of our property. We can't see the street. And the autonomous car, because they have cameras on the bumper,
8 of
the
them.
the bumper can see better than we can. So when she works, it's great.
So here's the rest of my story. So on a good day, I can hit self-driving in the garage, and she'll cooperate. And as Earl said, because of the driveway, and it's pretty dangerous to drive out on the main street because we can't see the traffic, she does very well at that. But then sometimes I can't set self-driving in the garage, so I set the self-driving on the street, and then she proceeds. But then on our way back, she's on self-driving, but she passes up the house,
Yeah, I
the
don't know where-
driveway.
we don't know where she's going.
Headed somewhere. We don't know where she's going. So then I have to deactivate her. But then there's other times that we come into our neighborhood where we live. She's on self-driving. She takes us right to our house. She goes up the driveway, and listen to this. She goes right into the garage. It's, well, say, as I said, a roll of the dice, but it is just an amazing moment. If there was a camera, if we were on candid camera and anyone could see Earl and I and how happy we are that the Tesla, the self-driving, is a completely 100%. I mean, right now I'm like excited, like I won the lotto or something. It's just an amazing experience with her, and you never know what she's going to do.
Well, the reason why I bring it up is last week I got 2 brand new tires in the rear. So, I turned the radio off, and I'm thinking, okay, how well are these tires doing? And it felt like the car was pulling to the left. And I'm thinking, oh, what? I'm not out of alignment now. I got new tires. And I thought, and then I thought to myself, I'm going to put this in full self-driving. And it no longer pulled because the computer was auto-correcting for that pull to the left, which there was no pull to the left. It's just the street that I was on was tilted slightly to the left, for water drainage and that. And I thought, for people, whether it's Tesla or the other ones, with the automated self-driving, every now and then I think they should just drive the car without the self-driving just to see if the car is pulling or if it's still in alignment, because the auto self-driving compensates for that pull.
I did not know that. That's amazing.
And John, that is a very good idea. And there are times that I do not use self-driving. It's almost like I'm testing her. I'm testing, all these cameras just to be sure that we're safe. But as far as obstacles, you mentioned water and different things. Our Tesla, it reacts to construction, to anything and everything, and it could throw her completely off.
I was saying before the show, John, that Teslas perform better fully autonomous in an area where there are a lot of other Teslas, like California and South Florida. There are a lot of Teslas. Every Tesla in South Florida is in the brain, in the computer of every other Tesla. So if you're going on a trip, your Tesla on autonomous sees all the other Teslas on I-95 or the Florida Turnpike or 45th Street or wherever you're going. And if there's an accident, if there's a backup, if it's gridlock, it'll take a different route. So it's really cool. You have to have faith sometimes, because Nancy will say, why are we turning here? We're going there. I said, maybe there's a traffic buildup on the way we normally go. And sure enough.
Indeed, there is, definitely.
Yeah. So, and what, I don't have the FSD. I don't have the full self-driving. I just got the regular, cruise control thing.
Yeah.
And I've got mine set for if, like when I drive to Michigan, from here to Michigan, I've got mine set if the route, if there's an accident ahead, like you said, if it's going to cost me 15 minutes or more, it will redirect.
Yes.
And you can change that. As far as, how many minutes, how bad the whatever it is. So if it's more than 15 minutes, it's going to redirect and take me a different route.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that I was going to say, no, that's it. I covered everything.
Yeah, that's you're like we are, John. You're wary, but you're amazed at the same time. And we get so excited. We say, "Oh, we've arrived. We finally have a totally autonomous car." Then something happens, but it's all a matter of getting software upgrades and being patient. But in 5 years, it's going to be as close to perfect. It's already better than a human driver, but it's going to be close to perfect in 5 years, I predict.
Yeah, and things are so much better right now than they were when we first bought electric.
And I just remember what I was going to say. You were talking about warning lights and things like that, and then last week on the show, Rick was talking about how you can pull in or you pull up onto a pad, and it tells you and measures whether or not your wheels are in alignment. How come they don't have that on the car now to where we have sensors that will let you know if you're out of alignment?
Good question. Rick?
My best guess there would be the cost of it. I mean, bear in mind that every time you add a new feature onto a car, you've got to be able to justify the cost of it. And alignment issues really now with modern suspensions, unless a component is bent, it's really difficult to put a car out of alignment except for the toe adjustment. So I would say the manufacturers just look at it and say, do we really want to spend the effort to try to, track down a way to measure that while a car is in motion?
Okay.
John, it's always a
That'd
pleasure.
be my best guess on it.
It's always a pleasure talking to you. We enjoy your company.
Thanks. And I enjoy it, too. It gives me something to do on Saturday morning.
Have a great weekend.
Hey, you too. See you later.
Thank you. Earlier, I spoke about the FTC, and we were so excited that the letters were sent out to, if my memory serves me right, about 97 different dealers. And everybody, including myself, or everybody thought it was just SOP. Things are just going to stay the same. That price that you must get is the out-the-door price. The price you see must be the price that you pay. And with this shakeup with the FTC, it is going to happen. I just can feel it. There has been an enormous shakeup with the leadership, and the commissioners that have been put into place are going to reinforce that letter that went out. And I believe that letter, Earl, is that on your Facebook page? Did you post that letter?
It should be. I'll have to double check. Yeah.
But that letter was quite significant, and it's so important. Get the out-the-door price in writing. Ladies, give us a call. We'd love to talk to you. You can win yourself $50 Amazon gift card, a $50 gift card. 877-960-9960. We're going to stay with the phones, and we'll speak to Howard. Good morning, Howard.
Hello, Howard.
Good morning, Howard.
Oh, good morning. It's great to be down here. I've been here 2 weeks, and believe me, I'm enjoying it a lot. And I hope you all are feeling well. And I have a couple of questions for you. Number one, when are we going to be on fully electric cars? In other words, what is your estimate?
Oh, it's like shooting from the hip, but yeah, totally there. That'll be a long time. But I would say over half the cars will be electric, in my estimation, within 10 years. Right now, they're virtually all electric in China, and they have a huge competitive edge. And when it's like cars, if Honda has a special feature, Toyota's got to get it too, and countries are the same way. So America wants more than anything else to lead the world in auto production, and with China nipping at their heels and being ahead of them in electric, you're going to see total electric vehicles, I think, within 10 years.
And the big idea here for us is that they are becoming more affordable. There's more people driving electric than ever before. Why? Because they are more affordable. Howard, you remember back in the day, we're showing our age right now, not everyone could afford a microwave oven. They were so expensive. Everybody's got a microwave oven now. It applies to so many different things. And the price of an electric car has come down enormously.
But let me tell you this. A microwave oven then would last much longer than now. I don't understand it. What's happening with the quality of these, microwave ovens, refrigerators? They break down much more. I don't understand that. Now, my last question: when will Toyota have more electric cars comparable to like Tesla? What Toyota is comparable to a Tesla? Let me ask you that.
Boy, you ask that is a really exciting question, especially for us Toyota dealers. And as you know, Toyota elected to go late into EVs, which was interesting because they led the charge with hybrids. And I say EVs, I mean all electric. Now they've jumped back on the all EV bandwagon. So us Toyota dealers can only pray that Toyota has been as smart and as futuristic with the 2020 vision into the future as they have always been. But it's a matter of profitability, demand, and it's very complex. But I got to tell you, I'm not being prejudiced now because I'm a Toyota dealer. I think Toyota will outsell a Tesla and possibly even put them out of business when the time comes. Right now, Tesla looks like a giant, but Toyota is already a giant. And when they say they're going to do something, watch out. Rick?
This note from Donovan, he says, for the caller, Toyota has one EV now and 3 EVs coming this year. Sadly, as far as EV goes, they are 2022 specs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Toyota needs to step up their game on the EVs, but they put so much into hybrid that now they're going to make that transition.
We've been Toyota dealers for 50 years, and I've seen them from the Toyopet junky little car all the way up to what we have today. And I will never underestimate Toyota. They're the largest manufacturer in the world. If there's anybody that can kick China's fanny, it's Toyota. And maybe it's a little bit of prejudice on my part. I really believe that Toyota will be the dominant EV maker over
Absolutely.
Tesla. Yeah.
They will prevail. Yep. Rick?
Donovan also goes on, he says, as far as the EV part of the car, they're still far behind, but Tesla is falling behind also. The European brands are coming with cars this year that are 3 years ahead of Tesla specs.
Yeah.
So,
well, when you've been in business as long as Tesla, and the cool thing about I meant to say Toyota. Toyota has been in the family business, which is something unique. Tesla doesn't have that. Nobody really has that. No manufacturer. So there's an ability for Toyota to think about what would my great-grandfather have done. I mean, what would my grandfather have done? And my father. I mean, it's really kind of interesting because of the Japanese culture that they have this. They don't care about the next 30 days. They don't care about the next 30 weeks or the months. They care about the next 30 years because they know that 30 years from now, a family member is going to be running that dealership, or should I say manufacturer. And so I could be wrong, but I still think, and I'm talking to Donovan now, I think that in spite of Toyota's seemingly short-sightedness in electrics. I just have a hunch that they know one hell of a lot more than we know they know. And they're going to lead the charge in electric.
Well, he says, Donovan comes back to say the BMW i3 coming at the end of the year will have a 440-mile range and can add 250 miles of range in under 10 minutes of charging.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but but they don't have the infrastructure. BMW is electric car. Toyota is a car for the people, all the way from the lowest price car you can buy, all the way up to the highest price car you can buy. They're in every country. I mean, to compare BMW to Toyota, there's just absolutely no comparison. If BMW invented the world's perfect electric vehicle today, they could not outproduce and outsell Toyota. And by the time they tried to get their infrastructure built up and their manufacturing capacity built up, Toyota would be on the job and way ahead of them. So I know I'm challenging an extremely smart guy, Donovan, but I'm betting that Toyota will just kick Tesla's ass before this is all over.
I think I have to agree with you. And as far as Japanese culture, it's a culture like no other. The work ethic, the people, who they are, and that's what makes them a strong, very powerful auto industry.
Yeah.
For lack of another word.
Okay. Well, listen.
Howard, do you have any other?
No, I'm on too long. Let me give someone else a chance. Thank you very much, and have a pleasant day. Bye.
Enjoy your time in Florida. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, give us a call toll free, especially the ladies. $50, a $50 Amazon card if you give us a call this morning. The first two new lady callers, the number is 877-960-9960. And have you ever gone into a dealership and the dealership and the price that got you in the dealership wasn't the price that was advertised? What did you do? What happened? Did you leave? Did you stay? My question again, have you ever gone into the dealership and the price wasn't what they advertised? What happened? That's a pretty important question because it's happening a lot today. 877-960-9960. Let's go to Barry, who's been holding from Tampa. Barry is a regular caller. Good morning, Barry.
Good morning, everybody. This one is primarily for Rick.
Okay.
Suppose the decision has been made to do an automatic transmission fluid replacement, either a flush or a drain and fill. Should the transmission control module enter into the service procedure? I ask because recently I ran across advice that said the TCM should be reset after the fluid's been refreshed, even through a drain and fill. The theory is that fresh fluid can confuse the TCM and cause erratic shifting unless it relearns from scratch. So I have three questions. Number one, do you agree with this? And if so, does the advice apply to traditional automatic transmissions only or also to CVTs and planetary gear sets? Number two, what other circumstances would require a TCM reset or possibly even a replacement? And number three, what's the best way to do it? What's the best way to reset the TCM? Is this something that's left to the pros, or is a do-it-yourself method sufficient?
Rick, before you answer that, remember 99% of the people listening have no idea what you guys are talking about. So if you could put this down in the language that Nancy and I and the other listeners can understand.
And I will keep it just as absolute short as I can. Okay, the TCM is the computer that controls the transmission. Changing the fluid for most manufacturers is not going to have an effect on how the TCM is operating. So that one I'll put to rest, in my opinion, right off the bat. resetting a TCM, even resetting its memory, bringing it back down to its original learning state, generally is going to require a connection of a specific scan tool that can talk properly with that. And a lot of those are manufacturer specific. The generic ones sometimes cannot even communicate with them properly. However, the only time that it should actually definitely need to be reset and not necessarily replaced, but simply reprogrammed back to its original is if the transmission has been repaired or replaced, then the TCM needs to be reprogrammed so that it understands the specs of the new transmission. This is just it's a highly technical system. It's like Earl says, 99.9% of people out there driving their car are never going to need to worry about it. And it's actually going to be the same process for a normal standard automatic transmission versus a CVT. They're all just let the computer do its thing. That said, I honestly feel that a lot of dealerships and a lot of outside shops are pushing for transmission fluid changes, whether they're flushing it or doing a simple drain and refill. I think they're doing this a lot more than what is really needed to be done. They're pushing this service because they can charge you a whole lot of money, and there's really not a lot of work involved in it.
And you don't understand what they're talking about, so you either got to believe them or not.
Exactly. My recommendation is get out the book that came with your car. I'm sure you can find them online too. The manufacturer's recommended factory maintenance for your vehicle, and follow that. If it says to have that fluid changed every 30,000 miles, then do that. If it says to change it every 100,000 miles, then do that. And if it says, oh, you never have to do it, and now I might consider the idea of, say, at 100,000 miles, have the fluid flushed properly by a professional.
It's the old,
and that's it.
It's the old glass half full, half empty, and the service salesman at the dealership is going to see it half empty. And Rick is saying, don't see it half full. Find out exactly what it is by checking your owner's manual. The owner's manuals, by the way, are very conservative in their judgments. If they tell you to change the oil every 10,000 miles, you can probably change it every 15,000 miles, and you'll never know the difference. So the owner's manual recommended maintenance is plenty. And if you err, you can err a few thousand miles over the recommendation, but don't get sold on doing in half the recommendation, so the service salesman can make a big fat commission. Is what we're saying.
Exactly. And just one other factor: if you're going to try, if anything to be done with the transmission for maintenance, adjusting fluid levels in that, make sure you've got a qualified professional, because a lot of these newer transmissions, that fluid level, the amount of fluid in there, is very critical. If you get too much or too little, and that is temperature related as well. The vehicle has to be at a specific temperature range for a lot of this. If you get it wrong, it can destroy that transmission, and that's outside of warranty. But for 90% of the time, in my experience, we don't replace transmissions near as often as we used to. They've gotten so much better quality. You're good to go.
Thanks, Barry.
Okay.
Appreciate the
Thank you
call.
very much. Okay, bye now.
Rick, would you say that the TCM is the brains of the transmission?
Yep. It's the computer that simply tells it when to shift.
Uh-huh.
Or for the CVT, when to adjust the belts to change the gear ratios.
I understand a little better. We're going to stay with the phones. Again, our number is 877-960-9960. Our text number is 772-497-6530. Don't forget your anonymous feedback. And ladies, again, we're trying to build a platform here. We can do it with your help. You can win yourself $50 this morning, a $50 Amazon gift card, just by calling in the first two new lady callers. We're going to go to Marty, who has been holding. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Hi, how are you today?
We're well, thank you.
I have a question for both Nancy and Earl. Do you think Tiger Woods would be better off getting a self-driving Tesla before he kills somebody?
Yeah.
Could he function with one of those?
Well, that's a great question.
Before Earl answers you, Marty, we were on our way in to do the show this morning, and I said that I wasn't going to bring up Tiger Woods because at the end of the day, it's a very sad situation, and what has unraveled is even sadder. And when you think about the fact, let me take it to a different level. This story could have been much worse. He could have killed somebody.
But I think Marty's question also brings out. You also told me, Nancy, about, or it might have been Rick, about somebody that recently was pulled over for DUI. He passed out, and his car was on autonomous, and the car was driving fine. And I guess an alert policeman saw that he was slumped over the wheel and pulled the car over, and the car was driving fine, and they put him in jail for drunk driving. I think the Tiger Woods incident, without getting personal with Tiger Woods, who I happen to think a lot about as the world's greatest golfer, he and Jack Nicklaus, I think, are amazing people for what they do. But I think that the accident would not have happened had he been on autonomous.
Yeah.
And that's a lesson when you have a situation which you said could have resulted in a fatality because apparently he was under the influence, not alcohol, but drugs. And the fact is he could have got home just fine and safely in an autonomous car.
Yeah, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, to answer your question, Marty, if he would have been driving autonomous.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like this is only the first time. I mean, he definitely has a problem.
Exactly.
And,
well, I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem with speed.
Yeah, that too, right. Right. But can you, if you're drunk or on drugs, will the autonomous work, or do you have to do something to get it going?
Not the way it should. The autonomous requires oversight. And, for example, in our autonomous Teslas, if the cameras inside the cockpit, inside the car, see that you're not paying attention, you get a warning buzzer. And if you're like suddenly in a big snowstorm or rainstorm and the weather conditions are dangerous, you get a warning buzzer to tell you to take over control. So if you're passed out at the wheel, you're not upholding your half of the bargain with autonomous. So until autonomous becomes near perfect, you're not going to have a law that says a drunk can get in the car and push a button and that's not going to happen for a long time.
Okay. Well, I just hope that he gets help so no poor person that's minding their own business gets killed.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a sad story. I really think he's an amazing athlete. I mean, just incredible athlete. And sorry he can't... he's in so much pain, apparently, from the first accident, that he's probably using these painkillers.
The amount of medication and I'm speaking from my own pain, but this guy is only 50 years old. Do you know how many surgeries he's had? So he has to be taking some kind of medication to control his situation, whether it's his legs, his back, whatever it is. So, as you said, who knows what happened? He was behind the wheel, and here we are talking about Tiger.
Yeah.
Rick?
And another point, Nancy, is when you have his kind of money, you can also hire a driver.
Well, when you have a lot of people have this assumption that when you have money, you have no problems. And I would need another show to go into that. But to what you said, he could have 10 electric cars. Rick?
Johnny C. Fradley says he heard that he swerved to avoid a birdie. Okay, I'll crawl under the desk now.
I'm sorry, Rick.
All right, I just feel that if there's a way, if you're going to do drugs or drink or whatever, you should not be driving no matter what.
No.
It's called Uber.
Let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Here's the bottom line. If there ever was an argument for fully autonomous cars in the true sense of the word, and they're almost here. They're not here yet, but let's say 10 years from now they are here. If you do have a problem drinking or with prescription or other drugs, then you will, for all you drunks out there, it's going to be the best news you ever had. You can stagger, fall into your car, and get somewhere safely. And I'm exaggerating a little bit, but we all know there are a huge number of people that have alcohol and drug problems that are driving. And one of the reasons you don't get enforcement of the rules, like with Tiger Woods, I mean, why is he driving now? They should have taken his license away the first time. But the reason is politics. And stop and think about it. How many of our House of Representatives, our state senators, and our other elected officials have drinking problems? So if you really want me to be crude, a drunk is not going to change the rules to make drunk driving a really bad thing. So because too many Americans in places of influence are drinkers.
Getting away with it.
They're getting away with it, and that's the reason the laws don't do it. But autonomous cars, in spite of the politicians, will solve that problem. If you're going to drink, and I don't think you should, if you're going to take drugs, I don't think you should, but unfortunately, that's what happens. You get yourself an autonomous car, and then I'm okay with it, because you're not driving the car. So,
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks for your both of your opinions.
thanks, Marty.
You're welcome, Marty. It's always great speaking to you. Have a great weekend. 877-960-9960. Give us a call. Give us a call. Have you gotten the out-the-door pricing? Was it in writing? Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Have you ever bought on the same day that you were looking at a vehicle? We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call. Excuse me. 877-960-9960. Our text number is 772-497-6530. We are going to go to Frank, who's been holding. Good morning, Frank.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Hey, hi. Welcome back. Yesterday, I was at Aldi, whatever you call that store, on Indiantown Road near 95. In the parking lot, I was driving the Lexus that day. We have an LS 350 or LE, whatever. And this lady approaches me, an older woman, not that I'm a young guy, and she said, "How do you like your car?" I said, "Good. Has it been dependable?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "I just bought one." And so she wanted to know about it. She had a Lexus before for like 15 years. I said, "Yeah, they're very good. It's a Toyota product and, high end." And anyway, so she had gone down to JM Lexus. She said the price. And I immediately said, "You need to call Earl and Nancy Stewart and speak about your shopping experience, because it's only 5
Stu has entered the studio.
Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Sorry, Frank, go ahead.
Yeah. But anyway, with that in mind, unfortunately, I don't know if I gave her the number, and I said, "Look it up, turn the radio on, listen to it." I said, "You'll even be rewarded with $50. And she thought that was, a gimmick or something. I said, no, but I'm hoping that these people will call you one of these days, because when I get in the car washed, or somewhere and they start talking about cars, I go, wow, they got to listen to your show. So we will see if they call in someday, and with that. But the last thing you were saying, Earl, with the politicians and the laws, well, that is so true.
Yeah.
And
As we live in the greatest country in the world, we have a two-party system, elected president, and Americans are free to complain, and we love to. And so I can say things on the air that if I said in China or some other place, I'd be in jail. So when I complain about politicians, I'm glad we have them. They could be a lot better, but they could also be a lot worse. So that's the reason I truly believe that we could eliminate drunk driving immediately just by making the penalties firm and enforced. Right now, they're not enforced, and too many people get away with it, and that's the reason we have so many deaths on the highways.
Yeah. The other thing, too, my memory, if it serves me correctly, at one point, some of the cars, actually for people that were drunks, had something installed that you actually did a breathalyzer test before you let the car start.
Yeah.
Is that just a bad memory, or is that something?
No, that was a great idea that never got off the law. And you'd have to make it a law, and the people that you elected to office won't vote for it. They don't want to do it because they're drinkers themselves, and they're voters. I mean, I'm missing the biggest reason. When you kind of stop and think, what percent of the voting population drinks, and what percent of the voting population would want to come out? They had dinner at night on Saturday night. They had a good time. They had a martini or two, or a scotch and soda or two, and now they're going to get home. And when they go out to the parking lot, or the valet parker drinks in the car, and they get in the car, and the breath detector says, I'm not going anywhere because your breath has got too much alcohol. How many people like that are going to be voting for a guy that wants to make it legal to have that device that we're just talking about?
Yeah, very good point. Very good point. Two more quick things. You made me think about autonomous cars. As a child, watching the Jetsons on TV, they get in their little car and zoom off they go. Now back to another thing. When someone brings their car in, trades it in, and you take over the title and stuff, how long does it take? I mean, normally you would just, if a car came in still with a balance due and it was held by Bank ABC, would that title be free to be changed to the new car buyer that bought the car from that dealership? Is there like a time limit, 10 days, 20 days?
If there's no liens, a lien check is run on the title, and that's very quick. It's just a computer search, so it should just be a couple of days. The only thing that delays it from being instant is that there's a flow of paperwork that goes through. There's a lot. We doing 250 cars, something like that. That's so. But yeah, it can take a long time.
And out-of-state titles can be a problem.
Yeah. But in some dealerships, and I think even at our dealership at one time that we've fixed, inefficiencies can slow that down. And there are dealerships that they get a lot of complaints. Where's my title? And so it's about just having a good process, but it shouldn't take too long.
Well, let's just say, and this happened to us. My wife and I went and bought a nice new Mercedes-Benz. It was a trade-in on January 6th, and they took my check and cashed it over. It was a high in the six figures. And the title still showed the original owner 50 days later. And we haven't gotten the title, and we haven't got the paperwork for that.
That's a violation of the law. I think the Florida law is that you have 30 days to change the title. Mm-hmm. And so you could really get the dealer into a lot of trouble, and you could call the Department of Motor Vehicles, and that's a violation. He could get a violation, which is very serious for a car dealer to get a violation from the Department of Motor Vehicles, because they have the power. Unlike, if I was a Lexus dealer, even Lexus would have a harder time terminating my ability to do business than the Department of Motor Vehicles. With a stroke of the pen, the DMV can put a dealer out of business. So when you complain to the DMV and they send a written complaint to a dealer, you get their attention immediately.
Okay. Yeah, because 50 days, we were getting ready to go on a cruise.
Yeah,
50 days before the cruise, it was still in the other person's name.
Yeah.
But when we got back, it was now 60 days, and it's now blank, but it still hasn't been assigned to us yet. So we'll see. All right. I'll go in there and chat with them again.
Okay. Thank you, Frank.
You all have a good day. Thank you for
Thank you, Frank.
yeah.
Have
Thanks,
a great
Frank.
weekend.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We're going to go to Rick, who has been holding from New York.
Hey, Rick.
Good
Hi,
morning.
Rick.
Welcome. Good morning, Rick.
What's up, Rick?
Well, you're talking, and I've been a long time listener, but I haven't ever called in. And I just was going to trade a car locally in Palm Beach. I buy cars down here. I'm from New York.
Oh,
But what drives me crazy down here, and I know it's a pet peeve of yours, is, I saw the car advertised online. I usually buy certified cars. I never buy a brand new one. I buy cars that are lease trade-ins, 3 years old, that are gone over and they're certified. And it's worked out well to this point. I've done that about 6 times, 7 times. But the problem is now every time I go to trade my vehicle down here, and like I said, I've been buying them in South Florida, I get whacked with this dealer fee.
yeah.
And the cars that I've been looking at, the car, especially one, was about $38,000 online. When you go into the dealer, they'll tell you that it's $42,900,
Yeah.
and they're going to give you a deal down to $38,000. But then by the time you get your doc fee, this fee, that fee, and the huge dealer fee, which was $1,200. It's right back up to the price it was retail. So I think it's annoying. I'm sure it's annoying to a lot of the listeners. And there's got to be something that consumers can do, is write the senator or something, local senator in your area or something, because this is just ridiculous.
Well, Rick, you're hitting on almost the heart of the whole show. And if at the beginning of the show, we talked about the Federal Trade Commission finally, hopefully, I should say better than finally, taking action against exactly what you're describing. The price you pay is supposed to be the price that you're quoted, the advertised price. And that's a law. It's a violation of the Unfair Deceptive Trade Practices Act in all states if you don't do that. So what you're seeing in Florida, you're coming from a state, New York, where they have an attorney general that has seen the light and has enforced and passed a law. And if they try that in New York, they have a prescribed amount that dealers can charge over the quoted price. I don't think they should charge anything over the quoted price, but right. At least when they put it in the law, everybody's got to be the same thing, so you can compare and make your decision. In Florida, you can pay $1,000, $10,000, $500. Every dealer can make up anything he wants and add it to the price. So I feel your pain when you sell or buy a car in Florida. It's a nightmare. And this new action by the FTC, I guess I'm a cockeyed optimist, but I keep thinking that we're close to having the laws enforced, but there have not been so far.
I think you ought to consider reporting. That's, I think, how you get the attention is consumer. I don't want to say report. It's not consumer reports. Consumers reporting to the FTC violations.
Yeah.
So there's a website. I'm pretty sure it's on EarlOnCars.com.
Yeah.
But if not, I'm sure a quick search.
It is?
Yeah.
It's a whole new.
EarlOnCars.com, and there's something you could put a complaint in to the FTC.
There's a link there to the FTC website where you can put in a complaint. And you can also, for anybody who's just, if you Google FTC complaint, that'll take you directly there too. But we have a lot of good links.
We have a whole new Federal Trade Commission now, a new chairman, and 4 of the 5 members are new, all appointed by the current President Trump. And the last commission we had was just totally worthless. And they tried, allegedly, to do something, but it never happened. Now, the current commission is taking aggressive action, and they have the thing that makes what the current Federal Trade Commission different is they have notified the dealers directly. They have notified the 97 top dealer groups, which I will estimate represents over half of all the car dealers in the country. And the large dealer groups have got a huge amount to lose if they violate the law and the Federal Trade Commission goes after them. So that's the reason I'm hopeful that what you're complaining about will be corrected soon.
And Rick, how do you feel? I'm not sure whether you were listening to the beginning of the show or not about I made an announcement that the commissioners, everything has changed. The people that are in charge now, that Trump has just put in charge, are really coming down on these dealers. And I think that there's some light at the end of the tunnel. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the FTC and the letter that had gone out to, I think it was like 97 dealerships. And our listeners that had called in thought, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. The price that you see must be the price that you pay isn't going to happen. How do you feel now that there has been a so-called change of command with these new commissioners?
I hope that things change, because I think this is pathetic. I'm a senior. I'm on limited income. I try to buy, like I said, a 3-year-old car that's, somebody's turning it on a lease that's in good shape and everything. But when I come down here now, and I used to buy my cars in New York, and I may start buying them up there again because, like I said, I'm not going to pay this dealer fee. This is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And I actually went to a couple of different dealers. When I saw that price change that much when I was shopping the last month, I went to a couple other dealers down in the Lauderdale area, and they, believe it or not, their dealer fees were higher.
Yeah.
And it just, I just walked away and said, you know what, I'm just going to drive what I have. It's discouraging because it's a ripoff. We all know it. And for it to continue to go on, hopefully these new people that Trump's put in, I'm not trying to get political on this show, but, hopefully these are honest people that see that this is a total ripoff to the consumers. And I know your show, because I've been listening to it for a long time. I listen to it every winter down here, a little bit in the summer on iHeartRadio, and I admire what you do, and hopefully you're going to get through on this.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate that.
Okay. I want to also add to everybody listening, if you just go to ftc.gov, all the complaint form is right there. It's right on the front page. You don't have to go hunting. ftc.gov, and you can report as soon as you get there.
That's
very helpful. You can go right to it.
Yep. Frictionless.
Okay, let's go to one of our favorite people, Roadrunner. Hi, Roadrunner Steve.
Okay, good morning, everybody. I came across a very interesting article last week from the Palm Beach Post.
All right.
Boy.
Auto Dealer Service Department, number 1, Southern 441 Nissan. Finalist, Earl Stewart Toyota and Lexus of Palm Beach. So Nissan beat you on that one.
On what?
Auto Dealer Service Department. Nissan 441.
No, I heard that. Okay, I just want to hear what was... Okay, so, all right.
Earl came in second, and Lexus of Palm Beach came in third.
Huh.
Is that right?
Okay. Okay, now here's the other one. New car dealership. Ed Morse Auto Group came in first.
Get out of here.
Finalist, Earl Stewart Toyota, and third, Schumacher Auto Group. How could that be when we do the survey going to the dealerships to see how they're ripping us off? How did they come in first place, these two?
Well, it is an advertising situation with that contest, and
yes.
And if you advertise with them, you definitely participate in a different level of that contest. It's disappointing to hear.
I like how you put that, Stu.
Yeah, it's really disappointing. We've enjoyed that. If you're talking about the same thing I'm thinking of, that's like a 10-year run.
Yeah. Also, they give you restaurants in here that are number one. So now I'm supposed to believe these restaurants are the best in Palm Beach County?
It's hard to believe. Everybody's in shock here.
Well, it's a fortunately nobody reads the Palm Beach Post, so
I got it delivered by accident. I get the New York Post.
Yeah.
The New York Post.
With nothing in it.
Yeah, it's a lot that people don't realize about that is the fact that did you know that you can vote as many times as you want for the dealer that you want or the business? But it's not about car dealers, it's about all businesses. So if a business has a lot of employees, they can ask every employee to vote for them. So it's not a legitimate contest. I can say that now. I wouldn't have said it before because Stu said we won 8 or 9 years in a row because we knew how to play the game. But we forgot how to play the game, and the other dealers jumped on it, and they voted for themselves more than we used to when we were winning. So it's fortunately nobody knows about it, but that's except Steve and Roadrunner Steve found out about it. But yeah, it's an advertising generated thing that Palm Beach Post, which is now, by the way, USA Today. You probably know they're owned by USA Today,
which is owned by Gannett Papers.
USA.
Yeah, like I said, the newspaper guy delivered me the wrong paper. I said, what the heck is this? The stories in here. So I seen this thing, Choice Awards for 2026.
Yeah, we used to say when it was coming out, we tell our employees be sure to go in and vote for Earl Stewart Toyota, and that didn't happen this year. We forgot to do that, so we lost. And good news is nobody knows about it except you.
Well, now all our fans and listeners know.
No, we've asked everybody to forget what you've said.
But then I just found it strange. Like, come on, Agent Lightning, let the people know about these two dealerships.
Yeah.
How to rip off and just get in.
Well, we'll definitely shop them.
I just thought it was funny to read when I seen this.
Yeah. Well, Stu made a good point. It'll be fun to take the leaders and mystery shop them, and then we can embarrass the dealership and the Palm Beach Post at the same time, because the award is an advertising sales gimmick, and so the representatives from the Palm Beach Post go into Schumacher Buick or Schumacher, whatever it is, and say, if you'll advertise in our paper, and you win this, if you win the award, we'll give you this free ad about you're the best dealership in Palm Beach County. So it's owned and operated by the advertisers. The whole concept of the best business in Palm Beach County was invented by the advertising department at the Palm Beach Post. So now the dirty little secret's out. and we only exposed it because we used it to our advantage for 10 years and now.
Well, we got that organically the first time, a couple of times we got it.
We did. We got it accidentally.
We didn't know.
We didn't know about it, and we won the award. So, anyway, thanks, Steve. That is good information.
Yeah, that's gold. A great
good
idea,
information.
Stu.
So engine light in Southern 441 Nissan, go there, and Ed Moss Auto Group. Let it go there and check it out.
Yeah, they had all their employees vote for them every day, and they won. And now we're going to shop the hell out of them and embarrass them on the air.
And Roadrunner Steve,
played.
we're going to have some great material next week.
Yeah.
Good. All right, everybody stay safe and well.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Again, that was a great idea, Stu. Yeah. Okay, we're going to go to Bob in Lake Park. Good morning, Bob. Thank you for waiting.
Good morning, everyone. How you doing? Hey, well, Stu.
What's up?
I just came across something I thought I would never see before, and I don't understand it. Someone that was 83 years old that was in a assisted living facility responded to an advertisement, and the car salesman actually went into the home, the assisted living home, to do a transaction with somebody. He didn't even have a driver's license. He had dementia.
Oh.
And then he passed away right after that, and now they sold him a $70,000 Jeep, and now they're refusing to do anything about it. And his widow is getting these $750 a month bills for the transaction.
From Mapleton Jeep? No, I'm just kidding. No. Where was this?
Dealership in Georgia. It was in Georgia.
Oh my God.
The only thing they refunded him was the $3,000 in fees. That they got that, but they said there's nothing they can do about the transaction. But the salesman actually went to the nursing home. Have you ever heard of something like that?
No, I haven't. That's the worst thing I ever heard.
I guess it is. I'm sure other salesmen have done this. In fact, that's a great place for some of the dealers we know. They could probably do a lot of business. In Florida, and I can't speak to Georgia law, but in Florida, unless an individual is declared incompetent by the court and has someone that has his power of attorney, they can buy anything. We sold a car. Or Al Hendrickson Toyota some time ago sold a car to a man with dementia, and his son, I think, called us on the radio show. I talked to him, and I checked with our attorney, and it was perfectly legal. So I happen to know Al Hendrickson Sr., and he and I were friends before he became a car dealer. And so we go way back. We were both crooks back in those days. And so I called Al, and I said, do me a favor, will you refund the money? And we were able to get the money back. But it's there are a huge number of people in Florida because, first of all, there's a lot of old people in Florida. I'm 85, and this is the haven for a lot of people that retire. So there are old people, incompetent people that are buying cars every day in Florida and getting hosed and charging thousands of dollars over what they should pay. It's a terrible, terrible situation.
Well, this guy didn't even have a driver's license.
Yeah.
He had and he's in a nursing home.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the worst I've ever heard. Georgia, I don't know the laws in Georgia, but it just, I would, you know what I'd do? If it was someone I knew and I cared about, even though I knew I would lose, I would just make a huge stink about it. I would try to get it into the media. And the media could probably hurt the dealer a lot worse than the law.
Yeah, well, that's how he heard about it. It was in the media, but they didn't. But they stopped at just refunding the fees. They kept the car in their name. They refused to.
Yeah, I'd keep it in the media. I would hammer them to death. That's despicable. I got involved one time in some of this years ago, and there were some lawsuits in Stuart, Florida, no relation. And there was a class action, And a lawyer, God bless him, in Stuart, Florida, took this to court, and there were a number of elderly people, and the dealers in Stuart were charging, mainly on leases, $10,000 admin fees, and charging.
They maximized the most profit that the lease would allow,
Lease would
the structure
allow,
would
yeah.
and the customers didn't know that they were in leases.
Yeah, exactly.
In some
they thought
cases,
they bought the car. Yeah.
In some cases, they didn't know that they were buying the car. They thought they were signing loaner agreements.
There is no
I'm kind of
conscience.
curious. I'm curious on how you think they're going to enforce. If the FTC actually follows through what they're saying they're going to do, how is that going to be enforced? Because I know in Palm Beach County, we have laws here with tint on how much tint you can have on your windows, and that's not enforced at all. Matter of fact, the PBSO deputies, they don't even have a tint meter in their cars, and they never cite somebody for having a limousine tint all over the car where you can't see who's inside the car. It's not enforced. So how do you think the FTC is going to
remember, this is a new FTC. So
Right.
hope beats eternal in the human breast. So hope's beating eternal in my breast right now. And we have a new FTC. And the big thing that makes this different is this FTC went directly to the dealers. And it wasn't just a small amount of dealers. They went to the top 97 dealer groups. Now, AutoNation, for example, they're right up there. They have like 1,000 dealers or something like that. So when you're talking about 97 top dealer groups, you're talking about over half the dealers in the whole United States. So it isn't, nothing in the courts has to be decided, which is what shot down the first FTC effort with the old FTC. So if this FTC is serious and they can enforce it, AutoNation or Penske Auto Group or any of the other Morgan Auto Group would be afraid to buck the FTC. Remember, a lot of these big groups are publicly traded companies like AutoNation, and they have the Security Exchange Commission. So if the Security Exchange Commission comes after AutoNation, it's the end of the road for AutoNation. So they will have to comply. And if the big groups start to comply, then the little groups and the little dealers will have to comply. So that's
what do you think the process will be? And will the customer, the person that makes the complaint, will they have to provide documentation?
Oh, sure.
How is this going to work?
Well, the FTC would have complaints, and Stu gave out the FTC.gov. Go to FTC.gov when they got rid. Then we got them.
Yeah, but the dealership never provides you with any paperwork.
Well,
you do your mystery shopping reports, and they very rarely give you any.
Well, you're right. You're right. The attention can't be gotten by this radio show and our mystery shopping report.
I want to just jump in there. We have a picture. We get a photograph of almost every single mystery shopping report.
Yeah.
We have. It's easy. I mean, very rarely do they say you can't have this. In most cases, then she just takes a picture of it while they're holding it. And that's
but that's not an official document that you take a picture.
Well,
but the FTC wouldn't use that. I mean, they're not going to go.
And then the dealership.
This is the thing is. Let me just jump in. The violation of the law occurs in the advertisement, so you can't erase an advertisement once it's out there. So that's the whole thing is you have to advertise price has to include all of the extra fees, and so if they issue an ad, that you don't have to get a copy of that.
Excuse me, Stu, Bob, with what Stu just said, and also what we just told you about the commissioners that have been appointed. I mean, there's been a huge shakeup, and these people, these commissioners, are very, very serious now. Does that change how you feel? Do you feel stronger that something will change, that the price you see must be the price you pay, so to speak?
I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, me too.
I think the dealerships will ban anyone from taking anybody taking a picture in the dealership. They
A
probably
valid
won't want you to use
complaint
your phone.
would just be a screenshot of their website that show a price and then a paragraph in fine print saying
Yeah, but my
$9.99.
point, Stu, is the Federal Trade Commission isn't going to go to Earl Stewart on Cars and take a picture. The chain of evidence isn't there. The buyer's order has to come from a customer.
Remember, just to remember this: the law says there's a different part that also says the advertisements. The advertised price must include. It doesn't say anything about the purchase price. It says the advertised price must include all of those fees.
I know. Yeah.
Right. So a
Well, the
screenshot
dealership-
of the dealer's ad is evidence.
The dealerships, don't you have a legal team at your dealership?
No, that's me. Just kidding.
You don't
We
you
have
don't
attorneys. Yes, we have
you
attorneys.
So all these dealerships have attorneys, and they have legal teams. The big public companies, they all have. They're going to deny. You can file a complaint, and the dealerships are going to fight it.
Yeah.
Just like this dealership is fighting with these people.
Well,
they had to go into the nursing home.
Let's
They went into the nursing home and they told this guy,
let's wrap this up, okay? The way it's going to, if it's going to be solved, you're going to have to send complaints to the Federal Trade Commission. You can't go on Earl Stewart on Cars. That will break the chain of evidence, and it will not be used by the Federal Trade Commission. But if you are a consumer and you have been wronged, and you have the paperwork, and you file a complaint with the Federal Trade Commission, and if that goes to AutoNation or Penske, which is a public held company,
right,
their lawyers will say to the company, you have got to change this immediately, and all of your dealerships, all 800 of your dealerships have to stop doing this immediately, or else you're going to be out of business, because they will be. Now, I can't make it any clearer than that. If the Federal Trade Commission, which we think, because it's all new, has issued the warning directly to large publicly held dealerships, if you complain, any individual, folks out there listening to the show now, if you've dealt with an AutoNation store, let's use them because they're big, and they did not have the real price on the car they advertised and charged you more, if you file a complaint right now at ftc.gov, you're calling their bluff, if they're bluffing, because they have said that they will tell AutoNation that they broke the law, a publicly held company. And if that happens, AutoNation will turn honest overnight. I can't make it any clearer than that.
And when I see it, I'll believe it.
Bob, to what you said, I'll wrap this up by saying I respect you for your opinion. So many of us, like you, have been burned for so long. And as you said, I'll believe it when I see it. But the information, that I received and Earl received, a week ago, it gave us hope because of the chain of command that has been changed. So thank you for your call. And
well, you guys have a great weekend. And if I see it online, I'll call you in and let you know if I see something like that happen. But,
thanks, Bob.
I'm looking forward to speaking to you.
I'm not quite sure when that'll be. But have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Bob.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
I do want to say, just out to all the listeners in general, because I don't want to limit the number of potential complaints out there, and I just confirmed it with my coach. An advertisement alone without a transaction is enough to trigger and is a valid complaint. So if you see an ad out there and you see a price, and if you want to bother looking the fine print and you see there's extra fees that are added to that price, that is a violation. Screenshot it with your phone, go to ftc.gov, and give them that screenshot. And if we have thousands of people doing that.
Well, and I will tend to differ. I'll differ a little bit with ChatGPT on that because in my long experience
New
with the
FTC,
Federal
though.
Trade Commission, it is a violation of the law simply to advertise it. But the Federal Trade Commission, if you're lucky, will
we're
take
emphasizing a new
action
one.
on an egregious customer, someone that was damaged. And
Right,
and,
I get that.
Yeah.
But this is a new FTC, and they sent the warning, and they actually put in that warning the specific things they can't do.
Technically, they could.
And it
yeah.
included, and
Technically,
the
they
first thing they mentioned were the fees not included in the price.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
up top on the list.
And ladies and gentlemen, like Stu said earlier, ftc.gov, let your voice be heard.
Rick?
Donald Salas is asking, he says, my problem is the dealer's worksheet never matches the salesman's worksheet in the lease. How would that work with the new FTC? And he also would
Well,
like
let me
to know,
answer that
how
first.
long do commissioners serve?
The worksheet in the fine print on the bottom says this is not a legal document, and nothing on this worksheet means anything. So that's the way the dealers get themselves off on the hook. If a dealer gives you a worksheet as evidence of the price, you say, I need a buyer's order. A worksheet is not a legal document.
Okay. And how long do the commissioners serve for the FTC?
Until somebody fires them.
But it doesn't. It's the choice of enforcement. I think every commissioner and every FTC would agree that the law is being violated, but it's the direction of the department on the things that they want to enforce. And they've indicated they want to enforce it now, so that's what the fingers are crossed for.
Cool.
Okay, let's hope for the best. We're going to go back to the phones and we're going to talk to John, who's been holding from West Palm Beach. Good morning, John.
Hey, hi, calling again. The gentleman who called about the elderly gentleman in the nursing home.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe he saw the article and everything, but I don't believe the article. I think it was like a rage bait. I think because first of all, would you allow one of your employees to go into a nursing home, sell a car to a man without a driver's license, and then go through the whole your
We wouldn't allow our salespeople to do a lot of things.
Well, that's a good question. We wouldn't allow it, but most dealers don't have a clue what's going on in their dealerships. If you own 25 dealerships, or how about 250 dealerships, like Morgan, I know Larry Morgan. Larry Morgan's a personal friend. I've known him for many, many
And
years.
you, sir, are no Larry Morgan.
He's got 250 dealerships. So if one of his salesmen in a dealership in Syracuse or Long Island or some other place goes into a nursing home and takes advantage of a elderly person, he has not a clue what happened. All they do is pay the commission, and the customer is taken advantage of. In fact, that's the defense that so many dealers have. Oh, I didn't know that was going on. How do you expect me to know about it? I have 200 dealerships. You know, their defense, their deniability is they didn't know about it, and that's what we have. That doesn't work with a publicly held company, and that's the reason if a violation of one of 250 dealerships in a publicly held company happens, the FTC goes after the corporation, and everybody can fall down because of the results of the act of one person.
And this is a real story, by the way. I see it in the local news. It did happen. And they said...
Douglas County, Georgia.
Douglas County, yeah. And this is on WSB-TV, too. It doesn't look fake.
Yeah.
Okay, then here's my point. He went in. There was no co-signer. He signed for it, right? The family has no legal. They don't have to pay it because none of them signed for it. I don't think there was a co-signer.
They didn't pay it. The guy paid for it. Did he pay
cash or well, they have a $750 monthly bill. They don't have to pay it. If they want, if the dealer wants their payment, they have to go to the.
What they should do is just let the guy's credit go bad because he's 85 years old and with dementia in a nursing home, and he doesn't need to worry about his credit, so they could just let it go bad. But
and same thing with the family. The family shouldn't have to worry about it either because they're not responsible. and they shouldn't be making any payments.
Or maybe they feel responsible. I don't know. Anyway, that's a special case, and I understand exactly what you're saying. There might be some paperwork that we don't know about that makes them indirectly responsible. I don't know. But anyway, let's hope for the best with the FTC, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Right.
Thank you, John. Give us a call again. Okay, I see by the clock it's just about 9:38. We have no callers.
How about Anne-Marie's text?
How about some text and some your anonymous
I got
feedback
an anonymous.
and YouTube?
I got an anonymous one here. And it's not spam. It's been, I don't know how they get in there. I guess they find the website.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. All right. A while ago, you had discussions about Car Edge. They have dealer ratings. Their ratings are a joke. Your dealership gets a well-deserved A with a score of 90 out of 100. I checked their rating on another Toyota dealership that I'm familiar with, and they received an A with a score of 90 out of 100. The other dealership has add-on fees, and during COVID added markups of $5,000 and more, as I was looking for a RAV4 at the time.
Actually, I had a comment on that earlier on YouTube. I couldn't get it in at time, but Tom Steckel said that he saw on Car Edge that EST, Earl Stewart Toyota, got rated a C.
A C?
A C. And he actually sent an email to them requesting to know what are their methodology, how do they come up with these ratings?
Yeah.
Because he also saw another dealership from South Florida that he knows has dealer fees and some shady practices that got an A rating.
Well, we didn't want to pay for the service, and I don't know if that has to do with it. It originally was going to be a completely consumer support.
We've had him on the show. He called the show.
Before he started
Father-son team. Yeah. I have a hunch that what happens is they do their dealer rating by complaints, and if they let the chips fall where they may. First of all, they don't get a huge number of dealers. They're not a really big company. And if they have a dealer on their list and they get 3 complaints, and another dealer who might be better or worse gets 10 complaints, that affects the score. So it's just, we like to think we're better, but you can't always go on something like that. I think Car Edge, in the grand scheme of things, in spite of the fact that we show a C when we think we're better, I think they're a pretty good outfit. They're a small outfit, and they're doing, I think, what they think is a good job. And they're making money. They're making a lot of money with what they're doing. That is, Stu is right. We elected not to go because they wanted to charge, I think, $500 for us to join, and we thought that meaning $500 for every car that they sell for us. So we said, look, if you charge us $500, we'll have to mark the car up $500 to maintain our profit, and we don't want to have to do that to our customers. So that's why we didn't join.
Yeah, and also, folks, it's really best to read reviews carefully. Read them carefully. Look for patterns about pricing, pressure, hidden fees, everything. It is best to take a look at what is really going on out there, not just the star ratings.
Okay, we're about ready to go to the mystery shopping report, and unless we have
I've got Anne-Marie's right here.
Yeah.
Morning, Anne-Marie.
She says, good morning. Cars have gotten so complicated with all the bells and whistles nowadays that it seems that one cannot possibly learn everything without a new car's features without a test or during a test drive. What can car dealers do about this? And do they have classes or videos to help buyers understand all the features of their new car after they bought it?
I say go to ChatGPT.
Some do, and some don't. The ones that do are in the great minority. There's a local dealer, Bremen BMW. A long time ago, I remember finding out that they had a full-time employee that did nothing but cover the car with the person that bought the car. I think that's a great idea. Whether they still do it or not, I don't know. But Anne Marie is right on. The cars are too complicated, not just for the customer, but for the dealer and for the people that work in the dealership. And it's very difficult. The ultimate solution here is for the manufacturers to understand they need to make the cars much simpler. Stu?
I'm sorry, this has nothing to do with Anne-Marie's text, but I'm on Car Edge ratings, and we have an A.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why it says C, but I don't feel good about that A, because right above it, it says Napleton North Lake Boulevard also has an A, and it says they have a $199 dock fee. And we know
Did you
that's
say
not
Napleton?
true. Yeah, and by the way, our score is 90 out of 100, just like the anonymous feedback said, but Napleton's score is 97.5 out of 100. I want to throw my phone into the ocean right now, folks.
Well, we need to. We'll make that a focal point of our next show, and I'm gonna call Car Edge, and I'll talk to our friends there and tell them what we're gonna do. So they need to clean up their act, and I don't think they're doing this premeditatedly. I still have a feeling they're honest. I think they're trying to grow too big, too fast, and it's hard to do and be accurate. So,
or there might be dealers that figure out a way to gig it, like how they submit their fees. Like they might only have Napleton might only have a $199 dock fee, but then they also have a $7.99 this fee and an $8.99 that fee.
It's just like AutoNation. Too many dealers, and you can't watch it. So the father son, I keep forgetting their names, but
Zach and
Zach and Cody.
Zach and Zach's daddy. So Zach and your daddy need to consolidate and focus because you're getting a little sloppy.
Together.
Yeah. We got this mystery shopping report.
We ran out of time. I'm sorry.
We should cover.
Leave.
I haven't read this yet. Our printer broke, and Icky printed a copy out for me, and it's so I'm just gonna wing it. Stu wrote it, so I'm gonna just read it.
I wrote it like a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember.
Yeah, right.
And anybody out there that fixes printers, you can meet me at my home. Just give me a call, and I'll give you the address.
Okay. This
It's
mystery
a
shopping
disaster.
report is of Acura, Orlando, Florida. Speaking in the first person is of our agent Lightning. We came up to Orlando to say our final goodbyes to my father-in-law, who was in hospice, and decided to do a shop before heading home because of rush hour traffic. And again, I comment about this a lot. One of the things we like about Agent Lightning is she's into this from a personal standpoint with her family, and she does buy cars, and she shops a lot, and she buys a lot of cars. So it's like the perfect shopper. I mean, and she gets taken advantage of, and she gets she still buys cars. So you couldn't ask for more reality than we have from Agent Lightning. Continuing with the mystery shopping report, we arrived around 5:30 and were not greeted by anyone. When I walked to the door, I looked around and saw a younger saleswoman sitting at a desk working on her computer. So I walked toward her. She looked up, still not saying anything. So I asked, is there any way you could help me out with some pricing on that 2026 Acura Integra out front? The vehicle I was referring to was a new 2026 Integra A spec, A-S-P-E-C. The MSRP was $37,745. Well, that's cheap for an Acura. $37,745. The Maroni was in the right place, and there was an addendum. It added another $1,399 for some cheap garbage. The saleswoman finished up what she was doing and offered me a seat at her desk. She asked, do you want that specific A-Spec model? It's a little pricier than the regular Integras. I'll be darned. I said, I like that one. She asked for my license, entered me into her computer, then asked, what brings you up here to South Florida? I explained that we had a family emergency and were in the area, which was true. She offered her sympathy and asked, how much time do you have? I said, not long. We need to get back to the hospital. She asked if I had driven the car. I said, yes, my son has one. She then asked what other vehicles were registered to my address so she could see if they had any discounts available. I gave her the long list and asked if they offered Costco pricing. If you don't have Costco pricing, you don't have the best pricing, get a Costco card. That was my ad lib there. She said she believes so. However, their discounts were generally better than the Costco pricing. I have to qualify that by saying that if the discounts are better, and they could well be, then the dealer's violating the Costco rules, because the Costco rule says the price they sell you a car for must be the lowest price they sold that car to anyone. Continuing with the report, I just said, and she excused herself to go speak with her manager. I only waited a few minutes before she returned with a sales worksheet. I had my phone out and ready, and when I went to take a picture of it, she put out her hand and said, "This is for internal use only." Stop me. Stop me from taking a picture. Wow, that's an aggressive lady. I'm sorry, you can't take a picture. So this was the best I could do. And kind of a quick shot there, but we have a picture of it. I asked what the $1,395 fee was, and she replied, all-season mats, cargo tray, and wheel locks. I mean, of course, that is silly. I mean, the total of that would be what, $500 being kind?
You're being really kind.
Really kind.
Yeah.
300. Anyway, a huge markup on the BS add-on addendum. I replied, "That's a bit pricey, and I hate wheel locks. Can those be removed?" She said, "If you're ready to purchase right now, I can see if my manager will."
Sorry, those wheel locks are currently locked.
I thought you had discounts available, or even in the Costco pricing. She said, "They don't generally offer any of that until you're ready to actually buy a car." So that's, I mean, this is hardcore, hard school. This is really, this is tough. This is a tough lady, this female salesperson. She said, "They don't generally offer any of that." Okay. Annoyed at that point, I said, "I told you we're looking to buy a car. We just don't have a lot of time, and now here we are. You're wasting it." And I walked out to get back to the hospital with my father-in-law. She added it. I started not to read this, but this is real. Agent Lightning's father-in-law was in hospice, and he passed away the day before the shopping report. So that's a very, very, very realistic shopping report, and we'll get some very, very, very realistic scores. And phone in or don't phone in, but write in YouTube or
Yeah, you
text.
can vote at 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530.
And we grade on the curve, so you new listeners, our old listeners know this, that we try not to give A's or F's unless we just feel we have no alternative. We usually score between D and B plus, but we have some A's and we do have some F's, but just a sprinkle. We don't want to have too few choices. And if you're in Florida and you're looking only for A dealers, there's nobody to buy a car from.
No. Well, there still isn't, really. Maybe one or two.
Okay.
All right. Here's my thoughts. It is worse than the average dealer in a metro market. It's worse, and I don't even know if we can consider Acura a luxury brand anymore, but there's also that aspect that usually we see a little bit better, not such,
That was a cheap Acura.
Yeah, it was. I mean, but that's, yeah. But still, you go into a nice marble mausoleum, they should treat you a little bit nicer. Holding out your hand for the camera, all that nonsense doesn't. It's so, and I hear you on the absolute worst. We've heard worse. So a solid D for me.
Solid B.
Mm-hmm. D.
Oh, D.
D.
Of course. Yeah.
No, B is B.
Of course.
No.
Of course.
Solid dog.
Okay.
Okay, well, I've got South Florida Two-Step says, fees are outrageous. The saleswoman was rude, especially by ignoring her. I give them an F. Saleswoman gets an F as well. Tim Gilliland says, can't take a picture? What are you hiding? F.
Yeah.
Tom Steckel, D-, $1,400 in addendums, fake taxable fees, and unwillingness to provide a real price up front. Orlando is learning from South Florida, unfortunately. Over here, this channel, nothing just yet. Let's see what we got for text grades. Jonathan in Palm Coast says, this dealership gets a C for me. The cheap garbage and internal use only documents cost them a better grade. An okay experience, but too many games for my taste. Bob from Maryland says the $1,300 add-on was a Mickey Mouse move. This was a tough salesperson. She was no Cinderella. It's an F. Oh, the Orlando references.
No Cinderella.
Frank says from Jupiter Farm says simply talk about old school.
Yeah.
F.
Yeah.
And we've also got, they are coming in now. Brian Sidlatko, fake fees, not for me. D. Scotty Florida says D. Mark H says D. Aggressive, no transparency. Who cares if you need to go back to the hospice? We need the sale. Joseph Kelleher says D. The $1,350 added on is a big turnoff for me. Pilgrim Florida says, sorry, I cannot give him anything higher than an F. Johnny Z. Fradley, F. And sorry for your loss, Agent Lightning. Alina says, folks, any dealer with add-ons or phony Monroney sticker will not give you a deal. This is not their business model. Just walk away. And I believe she's counting that as an F. Cram says, F, walk out the door and lock the door behind you. Make sure we are all caught up. And yeah, looks like we're caught up on them. For me, I'm gonna hit them with the D-. I didn't like the attitude, the whole, oh, you're here for what?
You want to give them an F, though.
I want to, but I will be lenient with the D-.
I felt bad about my D after hearing all that.
After all, like Earl says, that was a very low price for an Acura.
Yeah, well, we don't care about the price.
Kim Appreciates Life says, F for forget about it.
Forget about it.
I might know him. Okay, my vote, $1,399 for mats, wheel locks. That's not protection. That's profit. It's pure profit, plain and simple. And you know how I feel about all of that. I'm very consistent. I give them an F.
F.
Respect.
F.
Respect.
It's my fault, but we don't have ChatGPT's grade.
Oh, Coach. Where did Coach go?
I just screwed up there.
You got a fight this morning?
Yeah, well, our printer's broken.
Yeah,
And
well, I put an invitation out there. If somebody wants to call me that they can fix printers. Yeah. I'll invite them to our office.
I'll do an after the fact shopping report, but I think you give them a low grade. I'm going to give them a D. I mean, I'm like Stu. I want to make it a D-. I don't know why, but I guess it's hope beats eternally in the human breast. I keep thinking about what the Federal Trade Commission is saying, and this kind of thing goes on right now, and the Federal Trade Commission, wouldn't it be nice? So keep our fingers crossed.
Well, let me tell you what Charlie said. You have Coach, I have Charlie. Can you believe that Charlie gave him an 8.5?
Out of 10?
Out of 10.
Oh. Well, Charlie's just a Yorkie. He's just a dog. So what does your coach know?
By the way, Nancy, South Florida Two-Step says your printer gets an F.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. We've had more problems with that.
All printers get Fs. I've never met a good printer. I'm sorry.
Earl, is there something that you wanted to mention about AI We have a couple minutes.
Oh, just watch out. AI is, those footsteps you dealers hear behind you is AI. Just a hop, skip, and a jump away. You know, I tell you now to go to Consumer Reports. We tell you to go to, various sources, CarMax. There's a million sources out there to help you buy a car. And AI is going to, before we have electric vehicles all over the place, you'll have an AI source. They'll tell you where to buy a car. Mm-hmm. So AI is going to, for the educated, intelligent consumer, and we already got those tools down, it'll just be easier.
Real quick, AI agents are already upon us, and they do things for you. You will have an AI agent that can shop for your car for you, guaranteed, promise.
Exactly.
Okay, folks, I want to thank you for joining us this morning. We had a great time, glad to be back, and most of all, we enjoy your company. We'll be right back here next Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Have a wonderful weekend, and thank you again.